Hey, what's up, stream keepers, and welcome back to my channel. And in today's episode, I want to take this opportunity to actually talk to you guys about something a little bit different from the normal stream breeding kind of a video. I want to talk to you guys about, can information be generalized, and when does it need to be more specific? So the reason for this making of this video is to share about the journey and the experience that I got over the past few years in terms of the questions that I actually get from different breeders, and of course, the similarities and the differences in terms of the setup of different breeders as well. So that is what kind of like transpired into some of these topics that I actually want to share. And one of the reasons, like for example, in this topic is about, can information be generalized? So I think, the long story short is that most of the, information, the knowledge level, like for example, if you want to have the different methodologies, the type of filters that you use, this can be kind of like generalized in terms of what you actually want to use for your stream tank. Like for example, if you want to use a sponge filter, or you want to use a hanger filter, or you want to use thin soil or thick soil, so I think those are kind of like the very basic fundamental principles of the knowledge level, the types of things that you actually want to use in terms of what you want to do with your stream tank. However, when you start to go one step further, like when you start to set up your tank, or you start to cycle your tank, for those people who have been in this hobby long enough, you will realize that actually, even if you cycle 20 tanks together, not all 20 tanks will come out to have the same exact same cycling time. They also do not have the same exact cycling results. So there may be even chances where you cycle, you start with 20 tanks, and maybe out of the 20 tanks, one of the tanks may not even cycle well. You have to restart the tank even before you actually put the stream seed. So even let's say you follow the entire end-to-end process, everything the same, thin soil, sponge filter, everything the same. However, there will still be slight, variations in that sense that actually can throw the entire cycle, can even throw the entire, parameters off the chart. And that is the reason why, in terms of the generic knowledge, I think that's fine. But when it comes to, individual tanks, individual types of tanks, then I think the generic information wouldn't be that valuable, in the sense that, like for example, if you are cycling maybe 20 tanks, and one or two of the tanks you kind of like met some roadblocks, and then you start to ask in public, or maybe in a group chat, where you say that, okay, I have this tank that actually have some green water, or you have a lot of algae that is out of control, or the plants are not doing well. And then you get different types of advisors. You get different type of response from different people. So at the end of the day, I think when those people provide that kind of information as well, they will also need to really consider whether they understand where is the tank located, how is it being set up, and things like that. So both parties, one is actually the one that's asking the question, and then the other one is actually trying to share the information as well. So that is where I think there's a lot of potential gap in sharing the information, because uh, there isn't a one right way of doing a setup. So there is no one way of resolving an issue as well. So that is the reason why I think uh, when you select a mentor to actually guide you and go through all this information with you, so I think that is the key point where you actually want to have that um, very individual kind of information to be shared with you as well. Like for example, if you follow a breeder setup, right? Follows a breeder setup, and then you met with some issues. You share with them your location. You share with them your your parameters, your timing of the likes, and everything, and then that is where the breeder can actually share the more appropriate or more accurate information to you, so that you can actually resolve the problem. Take for example, if let's say if I'm going to start 20 tanks and I have a tin soil and I use sponge filter, and I ask the question that what happens with if I need to deal with green water, right? So there are 101 ways of uh, dealing with a solution. I mean, dealing with a problem. Green water, you can either use UV, you can do water changes, you can do some other things as well. You can wait them through. You can introduce more microorganisms to feed out the green water and things like that. You can cut off the lights. You can do major water change. So there are a lot of ways that you can actually tackle the problem. However, what is more critical here is that, you know, does the person actually sharing the information with you does the same exact or experience the same exact conditions you have? Maybe not. So that is why, when selecting a process, it's not just about I feel like, okay, I think this is a good process that I want to follow. I will just go ahead and make that happen. Because if you don't get that after support, or the after support information, like for example, if let's say you use a UGF or something, and you do not have that one-to-one support from somebody, right? Then when you have the issue yourself, how are you going to resolve it, and what are some of the things? And that is where you start to branch out and try to get information that is kind of a generic, in the sense, or is not tailored to your conditions as well. So the tailor part, the individualistic part, I think that is very important, because your tank is your own tank. So that is where you will know the best in terms of what is the water parameters, the light timing, the soil, how much you have put in, and things like that. So that is a very tailored kind of a information, and that is the reason why you can have a generic response for most of the generic information. However, when it comes to very specific problem, I think then you will have to go back, or you have to actually not find a generic answer to it, because a specific problem having a generic answer may cause even more problem, more confusion as well. So that is the reason I made this video, to actually share with you guys about having that very methodical approach to solving a solution, is really to find out which method have you been using, and why are you using it, and of course who is using it, so that they can actually help guide you through as well. So having more tanks, having done more resets, of course you get to learn more and more, and throughout the years you can actually realize that you face a lot of challenges, but all these challenges actually give you a lot of experience as well, and in how to handle them. There will always be a little bit more frustration, a little bit more work or effort to be done, but however, it's always a learning process. It's always a learning journey that you go through. Green water and things like that. So these are all part of the learning process. Even your stream die. So when a stream when a stream don't do well, what are you trying to do? What and who do you actually purchase a stream from? So I think all in all, you need to have a kind of a holistic kind of an approach, where when you use a breeder setup, when you get the streams from them, so that they can actually provide you with exact knowledge of how they actually keep it or breed it, so that you can be as successful as them as well. So I think that is where that slight variation in terms of the information that you get has to be very tailored to your own water condition, your own water parameters, your own tank condition as well. So that little variation will cause a big difference in terms of your breeding success, in terms of your breeding capability as well. So the journey, the stream breeding journey can be a very fruitful, can be a very enjoyable one, and it can also be not a pleasing one as well. So it all really depends on where the information is being gathered, how it's being gathered, and how is it being applied as well. So if the person who is actually giving you the advice knows exactly the the problem that you are actually facing or the challenges that you are actually facing, then of course certainly you will be able to resolve it in a matter of in a matter of a few weeks or a few months. However, if the person who gives you or provide you with the information is kind of like generic, or it doesn't cater or tailor to your individual challenges that you are actually facing, then you will actually worsen the problem the problem as well. So when it comes to very individual problem and challenges and things like that, I find that the stream community could actually help to be a little bit more specific and more tailored to each and every one of the breeders as well. For example, we have a lot of breeders that actually uses the thin soil and sponge method, right? However, each and every one of them may not use the same exact lighting, may not have the same exact duration of light, may not even have the same ambient and environment that actually suits on the streams. So all in all, it is fairly different in that sense, because a little bit of variation, like I've mentioned, will throw the entire ecosystem in a different direction. So that's the reason why it is fairly important to get to know the challenge, and from a person who is actually asking the or seeking for some answers, and of course the person who is actually trying to deliver some of this solution. I think both parties need to be very cognizant about the end result or the end goal of the conversation, because stream breeding is not exactly that straightforward in that sense that different variations happen, and that, like I mentioned, will throw the entire tank ecosystem off the curve. So that is also why I encourage both sides of the spectrum, both sides of the receiver and the giver, to really go into the individual kind of perspective, to really understand what is their setup before actually giving that solution to the person. Because at the end of the day, the solution you are going to provide to the person is going to be very individualistic. It's going to be very catered to your own experience, which may not even help what the breeder is actually asking. And of course, the breeder who is actually asking the question must also take note that they are also responsible for providing as much detailed information as well. Giving all kinds of water parameters may not even be sufficient to provide you with a great answer, because at the end of the day, water parameters, the hard water parameters, like I've mentioned, you can have everything spot on, but the macro or the microeconomics, or not microeconomics, but the micro ecosystem of the tank will definitely be very different from tank to tank. And that is the reason why we need to have that individualistic kind of an approach tailored especially for that breeder. And that's all I want to actually share with you guys in terms of this video. And for those who enjoy this video and have got some knowledge or some thinking points, please remember to give a thumbs up. And for those who are new to this channel, please remember to subscribe to my channel. And until next time, peace out.